propaganda model focuses on the effect money and social power has over mass media outlets, and the ability of individuals or corporations who possess adequate funds and positions of power to filter the news. We will be focusing specifically on Herman and Chomsky's propaganda model, which focuses on 5 main media filters. These filters are the size, ownership, and profit orientation of the mass media. Advertising is the primary income source of the mass media. Sourcing mass media, Flack as a means of disciplining the media, and anti-communism as a control mechanism.
The size and concentration of media ownership to elite groups of individuals with common interests allows for substantial amounts of media control. Examples of shared interests include the desire to maximize profits and the desire to maintain a high social status. By limiting control of media outlets, there is a greater chance that damaging or negative information regarding these corporations or powerful individuals will be ignored or filtered in an attempt to secure corporate and financial interests.
Take the war. I'm not just talking about the United States, but in terms of you having a global media enterprise, I mean, have you shaped that agenda at all in terms of perceptions of the war, in terms of how the war is viewed?
No, I didn't think so. I mean, we've tried.
These companies' main focus is not on producing a reliable media outlet, but maximizing profits and generating a positive image.
The power of advertising over television programming and other forms of media creates another powerful filter. Advertisers, not television viewers or newspaper readers, are the people who truly pay for programming. In doing so, they gain power over these media outlets. Producers and broadcasters have to consider the potential negative effects of their content on advertisers and may filter content in order to keep advertisers happy. Media content is not the main focus, but rather a method of attracting viewers to the advertisements, which is programming's main goal.
Sourcing mass media news is a filtration method revolving around ways the media gather information. Media outlets are under constant pressure to find new information and breaking stories. In order to meet these demands, they focus their attention to areas and individuals that have the potential to provide them with newsworthy information. These areas could include police stations or press rooms. Individuals could include government officials, CEOs, or anyone else in a position of power. The media develops a relationship with these individuals out of economic necessity. By doing so, these people are given power to shape the news. The information they provide is taken unquestioningly by reporters who assume these individuals know the facts because it is their job to know the facts. The information is then passed on to viewers who consider the persons credible sources simply because of their high positions.
Flack, which refers to a negative response to media information or programming, is a powerful filter. Flack can take many forms, for example, letters, emails, phone calls, or protests.
We're talking about your letters saying that the media were biased in the last election.
The bulk of our mail supports the notion that there's a definite liberal tilt to the news media.
In order to avoid the potential outcry from viewers or corporations, the media tend to stay away from or water down stories that have the potential to create flack. In 1997, Fox News journalists Jane Anchor and Steve Wilson began investigating a story on an agricultural biotech company called Monsanto. They discovered that the company was using a hormone known as RBGH in order to increase milk production in cows, and that the hormone was causing health issues in individuals who drank the milk. The flack that Monsanto company sent to Fox News took the form of letters, emails, and threats of legal action. The power of this flack was enough to encourage Fox executives to urge Anchor and Wilson to water down the negative health issues associated with the RBGH. Anchor and Wilson ultimately refused to change the story.
They, in effect, announced that they were going to fire us for no cause. Well, this was a little much.
And Steve wrote a letter to the lawyer in Atlanta, whose name is Carolyn Forrest, the Fox corporate lawyer.
And I said, this isn't about being fired for no cause. You're firing us because we refused to put on the air something that we knew and demonstrated to be false and misleading. That's what this is about. And because we put up a fight, because we stood up to this big corporation, and we stood up to your editors, and we stood up to your lawyers, and we said to you, look, there ought to be a principle higher than just making money.
And she wrote a letter back and said, you're right, that's exactly what it was. You stood up to us on this story, and that's why we're letting you go.
Flack is undoubtedly a powerful and intentional effort to change or manage public information.
Anti-communism serves as another control mechanism and focuses on the ability to rally individuals against a common enemy. An example of this is the comparison of President Barack Obama to a socialist leader. There is no true evidence to support these statements, but Americans believe that communist and socialist ideals threaten our current system of democracy. Knowing that Americans feel this way, an individual can control public opinion by portraying Obama as a socialist, threatening democracy and the ideals of America.
Socialism was the boogeyman of '09, a villain seeking to swallow America's precious capitalism.
Will you agree we're on the road to socialism?
A socialist?
Barack Obama socialist? President Obama with socialism written below it.
The word socialist is becoming a code word, whether or not socialist is becoming the new N-word.
One of the real advantages of creating a common enemy is that the need for sound and substantial evidence becomes less important. Whether that enemy is a legitimate threat or not is sometimes unclear and left up to the media's portrayal of an individual, or individuals, as influenced by people in positions of power. The final filter is in essence a convenient scare tactic used to stigmatize or damage an individual or corporation by portraying them as a threat or enemy to the American people and way of life.
You may ask if, in this day and age, it is possible to avoid this propaganda model, and if so, how? Though there is no one perfect answer, a few options are possible. The first is to spread the media to a larger variety of smaller organizations in an attempt to stimulate varying opinions and viewpoints and eliminate bias. A potential way to do this is to promote local media. Local media is free of the bias and agendas that influence nationally reaching media outlets.
Another option is to promote NPR and donation-funded radio and programming. This would reduce the power of the current advertisers who are able to set requirements and demands that must be met in order for the media to maintain funding. Another way to alternatively raise funds would be to write a letter to Congress asking them to allocate funds to support the media in an attempt to limit advertising dominance.
A final option would be to promote media literacy so that viewers don't take all the information they receive from the media at face value. If they are aware of the propaganda model and the potential bias of the media, they can form educated and informed opinions on current events and media stories.